The opener of any given pay-per-view has one mission: get the crowd pumped and ready for the ride to come. As such, it is imperative that the opener of Wrestlemania hits the right notes to set the pace for the rest of the night. Or, well, nowadays, nights. With that in mind, here are in my opinion the best WrestleMania opening matches of all time. If you go on to enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and comment as to what your favorite Mania opener ever is. And while you're at it, feel free to subscribe for more videos just like this one. All that said, let's open this video. Money in the Bank ladder match, WrestleMania 23. Back in the year 2007, one could argue we bore witness to the best field of Money in the Bank match participants. At WrestleMania 23, the likes of Edge, Randy Orton, King Booker, Mr. Kennedy, Finlay, CM Punk, Jeff, and finally Matt Hardy all competed in the iconic ladder match. One of my personal favorite spots in the match featured Rated RKO basically spamming their finishers on all the other participants in the match, and one of Randy's RKOs in particular was even performed to a young CM Punk from the top of a ladder, which looked brutal. Overall, it was just a bunch of fun between 7 of the very best to ever do it and Matt Hardy. And while I could talk about the winner being Mr. Kennedy, it ultimately didn't really matter that he won this match because... that's a tough day for him. AJ Styles vs. Shane McMahon, WrestleMania 33. It deeply pains me to have to put Shane McMahon on a video that has the word best in the title at all, but this match low-key slaps. Taking place in Orlando, Florida, Shane and AJ had been feuding for some time due to AJ's frustration at being unable to recapture the WWE Championship, and as such he took it out on SmackDown's commissioner, aka Shane. The pair were given 20 minutes to open the show and they made the absolute most of that time. Somehow Shane managed to counter a 450 splash into a triangle choke, which held Styles for a few moments before AJ managed to counter that into a one-arm Styles clash for a near fall. I actually can't understate the number of cool counters and spot the pair managed to pull off in this match. It's genuinely mind-boggling that Shane McMahon really had a stellar match on WrestleMania to open the show of all things. That said, half of said match was also Shane jumping off or falling from heights like Shane McMahon does, but all in all it was a pretty great match to get the crowd hot and ready for the rest of Mania to come. Daniel Bryan vs. Triple H, WrestleMania 30. Speaking of matches to get people ready for the rest of the show, the matchup between Triple H and Daniel Bryan that opened WrestleMania 30 was one half of arguably the most beloved story in WrestleMania history. In 2014, Daniel Bryan was white hot and people wanted to see him in the main event of WrestleMania as the guy more than anything else at that time. As such, the fans basically willed it into existence. In storyline, Daniel Bryan and Triple H would feud over if he should be inserted into the formerly advertised main event of Orton vs. Batista. The Yes Movement would occupy Raw, and because of this, the pair would face off in a match whose winner we put into the main event. And because of how into D-Bry the crowd was, this match had electricity to it that was palpable throughout the entirety of the bout. Which was really good by itself, mind you. It all came to a crescendo when Bryan managed to hit the running knee on Trips to secure a spot in the main event later that night. Intercontinental title ladder match, WrestleMania 32. WrestleMania 32 is oftentimes regarded as one of the worst in modern history, given its main event might be the most hated in the show's history, as well as the rest of the card being generally kinda underwhelming. Despite how it finished, it started off on the right note with this 7-man ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, which saw Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Sami Zayn, Sin Cara, Stardust, Zack Ryder, and then champion Kevin Owens all fight over the gold. This match in particular, much like other ladder matches on Mania cards, featured some fun spots involving the match's titular object, with Stardust aka Cody Rhodes even pulling out a polka dot cladded ladder in honor of his late father Dusty Rhodes in the early goings of the match. Some of the crazy fun spots in this match included Kevin Owens performing a powerbomb on Dolph Ziggler off of a ladder, as well as Sami Zayn doing a half-and-half suplex to Owens into a ladder as well. And the finish of this match actually saw the unlikely winner of Zack Ryder capture the Intercontinental title for the first time in his career, where he then wanted to celebrate alongside his father in the ring in what was genuinely a really nice moment. Chris Jericho vs. William Regal Intercontinental title, WrestleMania X7. Much like today, back in 2001, the Intercontinental Championship was treated like a true workhorse championship, with very work rate focused performers competing over the gold. So in the opener of WrestleMania X7, Chris Jericho sought to hold on to his championship from then challenger William Regal. Y2J and Regal put on an excellent technical wrestling match, however the pair were only given about 7 minutes and 40 seconds, so the match wasn't exactly as fleshed out as it otherwise could have been. Even still though, the pair offered some extremely solid technical work, which balanced out the brutal main event between Rock and Austin very nicely. RK Bro versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy Raw Tag Team Championship, WrestleMania 38, Night 2. Well, WrestleMania 38 saw both the Raw and SmackDown titles defended in the openers of both nights, and with the Blue Belts match unfortunately being hindered by Rick Boogs tearing a quad, it was up to the boys in red to secure a banger opener on Night 2 of Mania. And let me tell you, the likes of Randy Orton, Matt Riddle, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Otis, and Chad Gable certainly delivered. After several months of the three teams jockeying for position in the tag division, it seemed fitting to have all three of them compete in a triple threat at Mania. The match was a very high-octane affair with bodies flying left, right, and center during the 11.5-minute matchup. It was basically just one big spot fest, which if you like that kind of match, this will be great for you. And fortunately enough, every big spot they did in the match was given its proper time to breathe. So it all came together for a really sick match. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz, Intercontinental Championship, WrestleMania 34. Seth Rollins is a really great wrestler. Finn Balor is a really great wrestler. And The Miz was there. No, seriously, I think all three men are great in their own ways, and this three-way for the Intercontinental title is a shining reason as to why. The story headed into the match was that both Seth Rollins and Finn Balor were looking to capture their first Intercontinental title from The Miz, who by then had won the title on 8 different occasions. My main thing to note to you here at the work rate was incredible, and that the finish in particular was genuinely one of the best I've ever seen in a wrestling match ever, as it came after Finn delivered a coup de grace to Miz, before Finn was hit by a stomp by Seth, who also proceeded to hit Miz with an additional stomp to secure the win and the Intercontinental Championship. Oh, and also, he became the 19th Grand Slam champion ever by doing so. Money in the Bank ladder match, WrestleMania 25. Okay, for the last multi-man match we're going to talk about today, I just gotta talk about my personal favorite field in Money in the Bank ladder match history. WrestleMania 25 had my boy Christian, Finlay, Kane, Kofi Kingston, Mark Henry, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and CM Punk compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match. CM Punk, by the way, I made an entire video documenting his career if you want to check that out on screen or in the description down below. And this match, as far as spots go, is probably the closest thing to the super indie style matches that WWE and more specifically WrestleMania has ever put on. It honestly almost feels like an AEW match. There were dives from the ring, dives from turnbuckles, dives from ladders, and overall it was just high octane and fast fun to get the crowd pumped for the show to come. Oh, and also fan favorite CM Punk captured the briefcase for what was the second year in a row, which I personally think is kinda dope. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, WrestleMania 21. It brings me such a deep amount of joy to know that these two were able to put on a match at WrestleMania together. That fact alone would almost certainly make this engagement memorable, but beyond that, this match just ruled. In my heart, I have to say that Eddie Guerrero is probably the greatest professional wrestler to ever have lived. However, Rey makes a strong case for being just the same here in this match. And while some might say that this match doesn't quite live up to the great heights that their Halloween Havoc encounter did, I would argue that even as one of their less beloved engagements, that this match is still beyond incredible for the work the two put in between the ropes. And in addition to that, this match would serve to fuel the heel turn of Eddie the next month, which of course led to the famous Custody of Dominic ladder match as well. Owen versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 10. And for the final match I want to talk about here today, as one of the best WrestleMania openers ever, it really couldn't be any other match. Brother versus brother, not unlike what we're going to be getting from this year from Jimmy and Jay. However, if the Usos need to take notes from any match to base theirs on, this is that match. Both Bret and Owen were generational, once-in-a-lifetime type talents. So when the pair were tasked with pumping the crowd up for a WrestleMania to remember, they were certainly the right picks for the spot. Being given just over 20 minutes, the pair put on an absolute barn burner, which is better seen than described. Which all came off the back of Owen practically begging Bret for a match which the older Hart refused for months, before he eventually accepted and was ultimately beaten by his younger brother via a victory roll, where Owen managed to prove that on that night he was simply the better man. And those, in my opinion, are some of the very best WrestleMania openers of all time. Which is your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below, and hey, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it a ton if you consider leaving a like, and maybe subscribe if you want to catch more videos like this in the future. If you'll excuse me, this video made me really want to go give some older Money in the Bank ladder matches a watch. So I'm gonna go peep a couple. As always, I hope you stay safe, and that was Dylightful.